The storage facility loomed before me, its rows of metal doors standing like sentinels guarding forgotten treasures. The moon's feeble light cast elongated shadows that danced across the concrete floor. Alone in the vastness of the storage space, I felt a chill settle into my bones, and the distant sound of my footsteps seemed to echo with a haunting resonance. As I moved through the narrow aisles, the air grew dense with the smell of dust and forgotten memories. The soft rattle of chains and the creaking of old wooden crates seemed like the whispers of a long-forgotten past. My heart raced, the isolation of the space amplifying every sound. The overhead lights flickered erratically, casting sporadic bursts of light that painted the walls with eerie patterns. Each corner seemed to hold its secrets, obscured by the darkness that clung like a shroud. I clutched my flashlight tightly, its beam piercing the gloom as I moved deeper into the labyrinth. A faint whisper, like a sigh carried on the wind, brushed against my ear. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling, but the only response was the echoing silence that enveloped me. As I ventured further, the whispers grew louder, indistinct voices murmuring in a language I couldn't comprehend. Shadows seemed to take on a life of their own, shifting and moving as if possessed by unseen entities. My flashlight's beam wavered, casting distorted shapes that seemed to dance in the corners of my vision. A sudden gust of wind swept through the storage space, extinguishing the feeble beam of my flashlight. Darkness enveloped me, a suffocating presence that seemed to close in from all sides. Panic surged, and my fingers fumbled to relight the flashlight. Just as the beam pierced the darkness once more, I caught sight of a figure, faint and translucent, standing at the end of the aisle. My heart raced as I stared, my mind grappling with the impossibility of what I was seeing. The figure beckoned, its hand outstretched, fingers curling in a haunting invitation. I stumbled back, the beam of the flashlight trembling. The figure remained, its presence growing stronger as if drawing closer. Desperation fueled my movements as I turned and fled, my footsteps echoing in the empty space. As I burst through the exit, gasping for breath, the storage facility seemed to exhale a sigh of its own, a breath of secrets and whispers that were not meant for the living. The memory of that night lingered, a chilling reminder that even in the emptiness of a storage space, there are echoes of a past that longs to be heard. The library was a realm of solitude, its shelves standing tall like sentinels of knowledge. Alone on the night shift, I sat at the reference desk, surrounded by towering stacks of books that seemed to hold centuries of stories within their pages. The clock's tick echoed in the quiet expanse as I immersed myself in the comforting rhythm of pages turning. The old oak doors creaked gently as a soft breeze swept through the room, bringing with it the scent of aged paper. The moon's glow filtered through the tall windows, casting intricate patterns on the floor that seemed like secrets woven into the very architecture. The air was heavy with the weight of history, the whispers of countless readers who had passed through. I glanced at the clock. The witching hour was upon me. As if in response, the lights overhead flickered, casting shadows that danced across the rows of books. As I reached for a volume, a soft murmur reached my ears, a distant conversation that seemed to echo through the aisles. My heart raced and I stilled, trying to discern the source of the voices. Could it be a colleague, a misplaced patron? But the library remained empty, its silence undisturbed. Curiosity pulled me forward and I ventured deeper into the stacks. The murmur grew clearer, the voices distinct yet hushed, as if sharing secrets meant only for the night. The words were unintelligible, as if spoken in a forgotten tongue, but their emotion was palpable. Laughter, excitement, and a hint of melancholy. A book fell from a shelf with a soft thud, jolting me from my trance. I glanced down, the volume revealing an ancient leather binding. Its pages were filled with delicate script, a handwritten tale that seemed to speak of forgotten legends and lost lore. As I read, the whispers grew stronger, as if the characters within the book had come to life. The room seemed to shift, the moonlight casting an ethereal glow that painted the stories across the walls. I felt as though I had stepped into a realm where time held no power, and the past and present merged. But as the final pages approached, the voices waned, their presence growing faint. The library returned to its silent state, the moon's glow receding. I closed the book, the pages emitting a soft sigh as if surrendering their secrets once more. Alone at the reference desk once more, I felt a sense of connection to the voices of the past. The library had whispered its tales to me, inviting me to share in the stories that had woven its walls together. And as the clock continued to tick, I realized that even in solitude, the library was alive with the echoes of those who had wandered its aisles before me. The gas station stood like a forgotten relic on the edge of nowhere. As darkness settled in, I found myself alone in its eerie embrace, surrounded by the skeletal remains of fuel pumps and empty parking spaces. The moon hung low, casting a pale glow that seemed to shroud the place in a haunting mystery. The wind whispered through broken windows, creating a symphony of creaks and sighs. The overhead lights flickered intermittently, casting erratic shadows that danced like specters on the cracked linoleum floor. The air held a musty scent, a blend of aged memories and decay. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl and the rustling of leaves. I stood behind the counter, the dull hum of the refrigerator being the only companion in this realm of desolation. The coffee machine gurgled, occasionally spitting out a stream of dark liquid into the pot, as if trying to mimic life. A sudden thud from the restroom startled me, and my heart raced as I turned towards the source of the sound. The door hung slightly ajar, its darkness a stark contrast against the dim interior. Could it be an animal seeking shelter or my own imagination playing tricks? Summoning courage, I approached the restroom, the uneven beat of my heart echoing in my ears. My hand trembled as I pushed the door open, revealing an empty space, its silence untouched by the disturbance I had heard. My own reflection stared back from the cracked mirror, eyes wide with a mixture of relief and unease. Returning to the counter, I noticed a journal, its pages yellowed with age. It seemed to beckon, promising glimpses into the past that this place had held. As I flipped through its pages, stories emerged, tales of weary travelers and whispered secrets. Each entry seemed to carry a piece of the gas station's history, a memory etched into the fabric of its existence. Outside, the wind grew stronger, rattling the abandoned sign and sending a shiver down my spine. I could almost hear the echoes of conversations that had taken place here, the laughter and exchanges that had faded into the night. As the first rays of dawn began to chase away the darkness, the gas station came alive with a warm, golden hue. The solitude that had felt suffocating only hours before now held a certain melancholic beauty. I closed the journal, a sense of connection to this forgotten place settling over me. Alone in the gas station, I felt as though I had been granted a glimpse into its soul, a place where stories lingered, waiting to be heard by those who dared to listen to the echoes of the night. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and sweet dreams.